Hello and welcome to another episode of the Life Surfer podcast. Today we're meeting Tilly Wade, who is a creative strategist and used to work in corporate and she shares her very personal journey of several burnouts that eventually contributed to her developing myalgic encephalomyelitis, which is also known as chronic fatigue syndrome. And Tilly didn't listen to those warning signs and she ignored the burnout and upheld that facade of I'm okay. So her story clearly shows how warning signs are normalized too often and how they are too easily dismissed. But she also shares her magnificent journey from being housebound with days where she physically couldn't even get out of bed with severe exhaustion and pain to then being able to travel to Bali. And she didn't share this in the episode, but she went and she shares tips that really helped her in her recovery journey. And I absolutely loved this episode, this interview, and I hope you do as well. So see you inside. Welcome.
Thank you. Be here. Burnout has been, part of my life for a really long time, like longer than I probably even imagined. I've been signed off work for burnout more than just the once. And I think it was only when I got really ill, so I got diagnosed with ME or chronic fatigue syndrome, that I kind of started to put all the pieces of the puzzle together and realized that I'd been burning myself out consistently for a really long time, like even since school days, just striving for perfection and signing up to what society thinks is everything that we're meant to do, of like get good grades, get a really good job, do the best work you possibly can. And I was not making space for myself within that. I was just kind of driven externally. When I was signed off for burnout, it was very much at that moment, I was still like, well, I'm fine. And I think I realized that, the only real emotions that I kind of was addressing was, it was either fine or it was like, oh my God, I'm in bed and I absolutely can't get out of bed. Like I physically cannot move anywhere. So it was very normal for me to be running on steam and almost having all these kind of symptoms, being in a bit of turmoil in my life, but that just becoming the norm for so long. And it's because I ignored all of those signs that was, subtle in the beginning. And I probably didn't have the right relationship even with my body in terms of noticing them, but I ignored them for so long that my body then had to absolutely scream at me in the way it knew how, that I'd listen for me to finally wake up and realize that it wasn't just that I'd been working too hard at work. Like my whole life was designed for me to be burnt out consistently.
And so,
Yeah.
so what were the early signs that you now would have recognized, but then ignored?
I think one big thing, I guess, is unhappiness and distraction. Like I kind of would distract myself from my actual life because I wasn't happy in what I was doing. So I think unhappiness is a big one. But also, I guess when it comes to like listening to the body, like just pure exhaustion and fatigue, I think like even just the most basic things would just absolutely knock the wind out of me. But I just kept going because I thought, I'm a human and I'm seeing everyone else do all these things around me, so I need to keep going. So I'd, you know, wake up really early, have loads of coffees throughout the day, go out and drink at night, wake up and I'd be a bit hungover, but it's okay because I had something else to do. I was always on to the next thing, onto the next thing. But yeah, I think looking back, the early signs for me would be, one, realizing that I'm not doing something that I actually genuinely enjoy and love, which I think is the beginning of the recipe for burnout. Is like, if you're not doing something that's truly aligned to who you are, what lights you up, you're going to get burnt out, you're going to get exhausted by it. So noticing if you're doing something for yourself or for other people or for society. And yeah, just the little things in terms of fatigue, not really getting that much joy from things. Like I'd just be constantly exhausted. My downtime was just putting on the TV to kind of like numb myself. That was the only way I could kind of get through. And to
Mm.
me, that was, relaxation in my spare time. But I realized now I was just totally
Regeneration. Yeah. Mm.
things. I had no energy to give to any hobbies. Like one of my worst nightmares at work would be if someone asked me what my hobbies were, because I felt so ashamed that I didn't have any. My hobbies were
Mm.
going out with my friends and watching TV, which aren't hobbies. That was just how I got over the fact that I was not living a life that was meant for me, and I was so burned out.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That was, yeah, very profound. And what I picked up on now, for one, was that perfectionism. I feel that is a huge trap for very many people. And also being so externally driven that you do the things that other people expect from you, but that don't actually light you up. And even if in human design you have that sacral motor, if you don't do the things that light you up, you
Yeah.
like you don't have the energy for the things you're not meant to do, right? And so
Yeah.
like anybody can burn out through doing what they're not meant to do, right? And it's like
Yeah.
that autocorrect from our bodies that says, no, you're here for something else. Look there, look
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You need it to keep feeding back and giving you energy. I guess it's like
Mm-hmm.
introvert and extrovert. Like when I'm around certain people, I have so much energy, but
Mm-hmm.
when I'm around, people that are draining me, or if you're naturally kind of introverted,
Mm-hmm.
social situations might drain you. And it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of noticing that within your work and whatever else you're doing as well. And I think sometimes it can be quite hard when you have a corporate job and you have these briefs and these things you have to hit. There's a lot of kind of hard lines and lessons. So that's why people, end up burning themselves out, and it's becoming such a common
Thing. Absolutely.
phenomenon that's happening because
Mm-hmm.
we're not, even I guess you're talking about like male and female like burnout cycles, and I guess hormone cycles. The male hormone cycle is every 24 hours, but with women, it's
That's
28
the major.
days.
Mm-hmm.
So it's again even harder, I guess, sometimes as women to show up every single day and give that consistent level of energy when like naturally
You're
that's
not
just
meant to.
not
Yeah.
where our cycles are. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you also mentioned chronic fatigue and ME. I think not everybody may know the terms. I mean, chronic fatigue by now is pretty known, I feel, but still, can you touch on that?
Yeah, so chronic fatigue syndrome and ME, they are the same thing. I think the
Hmm.
first word was ME, myalgic encephalomyelitis. It then got changed to chronic fatigue syndrome because I think it was too complex. But then some people think that chronic fatigue syndrome doesn't describe the severity of ME, so
Hmm.
they are used interchangeably, and they are actually the same thing. Um, but it's a kind of multi-system illness. That is triggered by some kind of trigger event. So this can be commonly a virus, but also stressful situations. And usually it's a perfect storm of everything. That's what
Hmm.
everyone kind of describes it as, like this perfect storm. Um, it's quite a controversial topic sometimes to talk about in terms of the origin and how to heal from this, because it's been sidelined in the past. A lot of people
Hmm.
that have had, ME in the past, there was kind of this big movement where people just thought, oh, it's all
You're
in your
just
head.
making it up. Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Hmm.
just making it up. You're just tired. You just need to get out there and do
Hmm.
things. Graded exercise therapy was kind of what was prescribed. But I think as of like 4 years ago, they did lots of studies to show that actually this was making people worse.
Hmm.
Um, can't just take someone and tell them to exercise and then they'll suddenly be better. Like this is it goes deeper than that, but it's
Hmm.
very related to the nervous system. So people with ME, their nervous system has been stuck in a chronic state of fight or flight for so long,
Hmm.
plus all these other systems coming in that your body just totally gives up. And I mean, I have a lot of personal experience, obviously healing myself from this illness, which I do believe it is possible for everybody,
Hmm.
or is available for everybody. I don't know, it's a lot of work,
Hmm.
um, but it's kind of been sidelined a lot by um, kind of Western medicine because there isn't a magical drug, there isn't a cure currently from a medical perspective, but there's a lot of research and stories out there of people healing themselves that
Hmm.
shows that this
It's
this is
possible.
possible. And I mean, I'm an example of that. There's so many more out there. But yeah, it's hard to talk about in terms of because everyone's experience is very different. It can go from the mild all the way to the severe. There's people that are totally bed bound, can't move, can't feed themselves, have to be in complete darkness, stillness. It can get really, really severe, but it's all down to what's kind of the latest knowledge and science is nervous system regulation, and obviously that can throw up lots of other issues in your body when your body's been out of balance for so long. There's so many other imbalances that arise and other things that come from it. So that wasn't a very distinct explanation of what
no, but
was.
it's perfect. But you also mentioned in the past that this involves a lot of pain. So when you say they can't get out of bed, it's also like there's also pain with that, right? And I feel like that was something.
Some of the main.
Oh, you're frozen.
Sorry, I think I've got dodgy.
Yeah. All good. Yeah, but you're back.
Okay, great.
Yeah. But you were saying that pain is just like a big aspect of it, right? And I think that many people are not aware of the fact that burnout is not just being tired, right? And not having the energy to do anything, but there is pain involved, and this is really this is physical. This is not just mental. And even if it were just mental, that would be enough of a burden, but I just feel raising awareness around this, both for understanding people who have it and accepting that this is a real thing, but also of becoming self-reflective and seeing what is happening in me. Like, do I need to take better care of myself? Where in my world, where in my life do I need to switch some things around to prevent this from happening? Because it can also go pretty fast, right?
Yeah. And I think burnout is a big part of my story, and it's part of the reason I believe why I ended up developing ME. I mean, not everyone with burnout will get ME and vice versa, but I think it starts with these little signals in your body of fatigue and everything, and that's your body trying to tell you that something's not right. And if you ignore that, it can develop into not just ME, but other chronic illnesses also stem from this chronic state of burnout and stress, because they're so closely linked. It can get very serious. And I think when I first started looking into ME and nervous system regulation and how to heal myself, there was all these regulation techniques that I started learning that I thought, oh my gosh, if only I knew this when I was burnt out, no wonder I'm in this position. That's just kind of the insight that I had, is no wonder I've got sick. And this is why I don't think it's this random disease that happens to you. It very much, when you go down this healing path, you look back at your whole life and realize, no wonder I am here right now. But it's just hard because you don't have those insights, unfortunately, sometimes, until you get the kind of big hit of getting chronically unwell. But it's a very serious thing that can happen from consistent burnout.
And on your TikTok channel, you also share the techniques that helped you the most, and you support other people on their journey, who have realized, or helping them realize, these are red flags, pay attention to that. So looking at that, what would be the biggest things that you the most impactful things that you did to help yourself?
So I started my TikTok because I'd had all these insights, and I was like, oh my god, old Tilly would have benefited from this so much. So I just felt like I needed to get this information out there. And it seems crazy now because it's just such a common thing that I now know, but I forget that actually there's still loads of people that don't know about it.
That are the old Tillies.
that are the old Tillies, exactly. But it's funny when you suddenly learn, you kind of forget how much you didn't know and what's not mainstream.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think, there's lots of really important things about nervous system regulation. But I think the main muscle, I guess, to build up, that's number one, where everything starts, is awareness. Becoming aware of your internal state. And I think a lot of people, if you're living in your head all the time and you're constantly stressed, you're maybe not as connected to your body as you should be, or you're not noticing things that come up. So awareness is number one. So you can do this by scheduling in, like maybe even just start 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes before you go to sleep. But the best thing to do is schedule, 5 minutes into each day, as you go through, and just understand, right, what's my language? Like, what am I telling myself? What are the thoughts in my head? Are they positive? Are they negative? And okay, just noticing that. How does my body feel? And when I started doing this, I realized how much tension I had in my shoulders and my face. Every hour, I said, oh my God, I need to let go. And I do it now sometimes. And I'm like cooking or drawing or something. I'm like, okay, wait, no, need to relax. So yeah, language and your body. And then, yeah, just the way you're holding yourself, your posture, your mood, just build awareness with no pressure, first off, to have to change this. But building awareness, I think, everyone wants the solution and wants to like get to the next thing, but you truly have to start with building a relationship with your body and yourself. And it's only after the awareness that you start catching yourself in these kind of like negative thought loops or these stress cycles that you can then start to change that. There's so many different techniques, but the way I like to think about it is movement, touch, and breath are the three things that I lean on. So movement is a good one to start with. I think if you're in an energy where you're very stressed and things need to be dispelled, you kind of just want to shake it all off. Or if you're angry, like just punch a pillow. Whatever you need to kind of release the energy that you have in that current state. It might be sighing, but yeah, moving around, kind of like shaking
dancing
it off.
or
anything. And then you can also use movement to build in like joy and calm. Like if you want to feel in a joyous state, start dancing. Like what would a person that was feeling joyous do? There's loads of touch ones as well. Like kind of self-touch is so important and calming. My favorite one is to just
the havening.
The havening, yeah. Or there's the butterfly hug as well, which I know lots of people like. Even just kind of just being soft and gentle and like touching your face. Like the aim is to build safety and calm into your nervous system, not to just cut stress and never be stressed again, but to remember what it's like to come.
I was just going to say to learn to regulate it because you won't be stress free because you're a human with humans.
A bit of stress is genuinely good for you as well to like keep resilience. Like you actually want, the aim is flexibility, not kind of never being in that stress state. It's just a way to bring it back down. And then the third portal of breath is really important. Like our breath is so powerful. There's a book I read recently called Breath by James Nestor that was just an amazing book. Even just extending the out breath is just like a very basic thing to focus on, because when you're in your out breath, your parasympathetic nervous system is activated, which is your rest and digest. Also called the physiological sigh, where you kind of take in 2 sips of breath through your nose and then out through the mouth. So there's really simple ones. And actually, sorry, my favorite nervous system regulation technique, which is exactly why I started my TikTok channel, was my first video, is something called the salamander technique, because I did this and I felt so relaxed and I was shocked that I was like, how have I not done this in the past?
Okay.
Every office worker needs to know this. You basically just look your eyes all the way to the right. So you're kind of like looking past your ear. So it feels quite straining. It's quite hard. And then you just tip your right ear to your right shoulder. So just, and then you stay like that for 30 seconds, come back to the middle, and it will feel really weird because of your eyes. And then you do it on the left-hand side.
Okay.
I think it's something like your ocular nerve is related to your vagus nerve.
The vagus nerve, yeah.
So instantly I just couldn't believe how much it cost me. And I've had lots of people. It was actually my first video, one of my best performing ones, because everyone was like, what the fuck is this? I know, it's amazing. But the salamander technique, that's cool.
Okay, very cool. I didn't know this before either.
No,
Yeah, and I want to add with the breath, it's so interesting because when we're stressed, we just take very shallow breaths, right? And the interesting thing is, like, when you run, you breathe shallow as well. So it gives the body the feedback. I'm running, I'm in stress, like there is danger. But when you take deep inhales and you allow yourself to exhale super deep, then the lung extends, and if
Mm,
it does that, then that automatically calms down the nervous system, because when you are running, you cannot breathe that deeply and you cannot exhale that long. And yeah, it's just, to me, it's so fascinating, like how our body works, and like all these crazy cool things it can do, right?
yeah. And all
Really
these
amazing.
like portals to input, we think we have to always like think through our problems, and actually
No.
a bit of kind of bottom up work is arguably sometimes even more effective at
And
like
much
changing.
quicker. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, really, really cool. So yeah, and another thing is that I truly have the perspective that the worst crises in our lives bring out the best fertilizer. And we often only see it looking backwards and rarely while we're in the shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you see the gold in this whole evolution? Do you know, like you said, when you look back, it makes so much sense, like why you could not have not burned out. Like this was on your path, right?
Yeah.
And it feels like, yeah, you needed to go through this to learn something that will take you much higher.
Yeah, 100%. Um, before my illness and burnout developed into something a lot more serious for me, I was extremely I kind of felt like I was these like tangled knots, kind of just like inside. Like everything was so complicated because I'd not been living as I should for so long. There were loads of things I was ignoring. And, I was a chronic people pleaser, chronic perfectionist, all these things. And in order to heal from ME, you have to kind of really go back over your past and address everything. Like
Mm,
healing isn't just, oh, I'm just going to eat the right food and do this. No, no, no. It's so much
mm,
more complex
mm,
and complicated. There's a lot of like releasing emotional suppression, all of these things. Um, and I remember reading a book by Gabor Mate quite early on
mm,
called The Myth of Normal. And there was a lot of people in there that had these chronic illnesses, and they were told, like me, that you'll never recover. But they went on this crazy healing journey, and they said, like you said about finding the gold, that actually it became their greatest teacher, and they were
mm,
so glad. And I
mm.
remember crying, saying, like, I want that to be
That's,
me. Like,
yes.
it's gonna
Mm,
be me.
mm,
Um, and yeah, I was saying to some friends like very recently that I think I'm finally at that point now where I'm grateful for my illness. Like I'm grateful for what I went through. It's been the hardest 2 years of my life. There's still a lot of grief over time that I've lost and things that have changed, but as daunting as it is stepping into kind of this new world, and I'm still feel like a bit of a teenager trying to figure out where my place is. I know that wherever I go now, I've got tools for life. I know that I'm going to be doing exactly what is meant for me and is aligned for me and is right with my energy. And I'm no longer just going to kind of sign up to society and having a corporate job because I got good grades at school and that's what I should do to get
mm,
money to buy things. Like I finally feel kind of freed from society in that sense.
mm,
So yeah, it feels daunting, but I feel so grateful because I've learned so much about myself. I've healed things that I thought I was just going to keep buried forever. Some
mm,
things that I didn't even know that were there. And yeah, all those knots and tangles just feel like they're undone now within me, and everything feels a lot less complicated. And that's
mm,
not to say, I still don't get tired. There might be periods where I do feel a little bit kind of burnt out from personal projects because we're only human, but I know
mm,
exactly how to catch it and what to
mm,
do about it and design a life where that's not just a given for me now.
mm. Yeah, it feels like a lot of appreciation for the life that you have now, right, in comparison to how it was. And yeah, it feels like, you know, everything is on a spectrum. Like we live in that world of polarity, but you need that pole to experience that pole, right? And it feels like you're really moving toward that, or are at that. And
Yeah.
yeah, I really, really appreciate that. And I also feel like the way that you can support others moving through this journey or preventing that even from happening, that is really, really powerful. And I feel like that could be a big part of your gold.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
other people's gold from your story, obviously, as well.
Yeah. No,
And
100%.
no,
I
and sorry, yeah.
sorry. No, I was going to say, like, yeah, I feel just so passionately about this topic now. I mean, recovering myself from an illness where the stat that's thrown around is only 5% of people recover, and there's so many people that think they can't move through this, is just ignited such a passion in me, especially
Mm,
even learning about this nervous system regulation work and burnout. I'm like, oh, this is fascinating. But then also,
mm,
if I could use that to help people, you know, not just overcome illness, but then find a life that's kind of meant for them, then yeah, I mean,
mm.
I think that would be anyone's passion if they went through something like this.
Yeah, I really also have huge appreciation for that. Yeah, harnessing those 5%, and increasing them, because I truly equally feel like anything is possible. Like if we can conceive it, we can create it. And it's our minds and our creative geniuses that are limited by statistics like that,
Yeah,
and the statistics also come from a very fear-based perspective. Like, doctors don't want to tell you, yes, it's possible, because what if they're wrong, right?
yeah,
And they would
that's
rather be right about the 5% and reduce the 5% by that limited perspective than saying, yeah, but it's 5%. Like, let's see if we can increase that or whatever,
yeah.
like that has such a huge
Okay.
impact.
I think there's such a nervousness around giving false hope,
Hmm.
um, and I think even not just within the ME community, but I think
In
wider
general, yeah, with
conditions.
everything. Mm,
Um, People don't want to feel like they've got this hope when actually they
mm,
do have it for life, which I totally understand, because I initially was trying to accept that this was my life now. And I think it's only through my belief that, hold on, I don't actually think that, I couldn't accept it because I just didn't believe
mhm,
that it was true. And it was only through that I managed to do all this research and find out all these things and kind of try and heal myself. But yeah, I do find it really sad that, we're a lot of us look to Western medicine
mm,
and doctors to heal us,
mhm,
or tell us what's what. But then I think there's power in knowing that actually you have so much more control over your journey and your healing than you ever thought
mm.
possible.
Yeah, and also
Yeah,
the connection that you have, like the insight that you have, the
mm,
knowing that you have about your body and what's going on inside it, is so much
yeah,
more profound than a doctor looking from the outside,
yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
and even just how much belief um and thoughts have like over your physiology as well. Like
Hmm.
if you believe that you can move through this, like you will find a way and it will become reality.
Mm, awesome. I was just going to ask the last question for anyone who's listening. What would be the best advice you can give? But I think you just gave that.
I mean, yeah, that's it. All starts with belief.
Mm,
If you are, unwell in a hard time, if you believe that you can move through this, like everything will come from that. But I think also, if it's about burnout specifically, I think that awareness point is the number one thing. Like,
mm,
just start becoming aware of your state throughout the day, your language, your breath, posture, moods. Like, just start to build a relationship with your body and your mind and go internally, because I think, we live in a world where there's so many external distractions, and I had an extremely rich external life, but I did not have an internal life. I had
mm,
no idea what was going on inside of me, and I found that quite scary or boring to go towards. But actually there is so much there if you just start to listen. So,
mm.
but yeah, building that awareness, I think, is like, just
Yeah.
even if you're not burnt out, just a general
Mhm.
life skill.
Yes. I was just gonna say, because the thing is also, like, when you imagine you're in your car, you want to drive somewhere, you cannot just put in the destination. Like, the GPS won't give you anything if you don't
Mm,
put in the current current location.
Yes.
And tuning in is like you get the current location, so your system knows where you're at and can create tension to where you're going, and like that it can pull you. But if you are completely unaware, you also don't have that choice. Like you don't realize, I'm here now, what would I love? Like what would I want to do different? If I hear the negative self-talk, like how would I love to talk to myself? Right. And only when you become aware can you change that. If you're unaware, you're just in that spiral, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I thank you so much for this very rich conversation.
Thank you.
And I hope that this will spread hope and the awareness that things really are possible, no matter what, like, yeah, also what you read on PubMed or wherever. Like
Yeah,
that gives one perspective, that gives an angle, but it doesn't need to be your angle or your perspective or
100%.
your belief.
Yeah. And I think if, anyone that is burnt out or chronically ill, just look for the recovery stories
Mm-hmm.
and inhale them,
Focus
and
on
that
that.
becomes a reality. Like if
Mm-hmm.
people have done it, you can do it.
Absolutely. Amen. Well, thank you, and we shall see you next time.
Thank you.